Chosen one, the moment you stepped into awareness of who you truly are, was the moment your masculine energy began to awaken, not as an act of aggression, not as a performance, but as a steady, ancient pulse that had always lived within you, waiting to be remembered. This awakening is not loud, it is not chaotic, it is not performative. It is silent, powerful, and undeniable. It is the shift from needing to be seen to simply being. And the world, especially women, feel this shift like the rising of the sun. It does not knock, it simply arrives, and everything begins to move in response. Your masculine energy is more than posture, more than tone, more than the way you walk into a room. It is the essence that speaks through your body before your lips ever open. It is the stillness that exists beneath your fire. It is the direction behind your desire. And when fused with high sexual energy, it becomes something utterly magnetic. But you must understand this. It is not the energy alone that makes you powerful. It is how you carry it, how you choose to wear it. Not like a weapon, but like a birthright. Women feel this shift in you not because of any single trait, but because your entire field of being begins to communicate differently. Your presence says, I am here, not to prove, not to chase, but to offer. And this offering is not about validation or conquest. It is about truth. The truth of who you are when you stop running from your depth, when you stop apologizing for your strength, when you start living from your center and no longer from your wounds. This awakening is deeply attractive, not because it tries to be, but because it doesn't need to be. Your energy is no longer fragmented. It is focused, no longer scattered between fantasies and doubts. It is contained. You begin to walk as a man who knows his worth without needing others to confirm it. And women, who have long been trained to detect performance and insecurity, find themselves pausing around you. Not because you're trying to catch their attention, but because your energy commands a deeper kind of curiosity. This is the energy of a man who has remembered that his power is not in domination, but in direction. A man who leads not with volume, but with vision. A man whose sexual energy is no longer reaching outward blindly, but is anchored inward, fueling his purpose, his stillness, his focus. When your masculinity awakens like this, it becomes deeply grounding for others, especially for the feminine, which often exists in emotional motion and energetic fluidity. You become the rooted tree in the middle of her changing seasons, not to contain her, but to allow her to expand safely. This is the true nature of awakened masculinity. Not boastful, not forceful, but intentional. It listens, it holds, it protects, it invites, it creates space without collapsing, it leads without controlling. And in this space, women feel something rare, something they may not have even known they were looking for. They feel home. Not because you have all the answers, but because you are no longer afraid of the questions. Not because you promise safety, but because you embody it. Not because you demand to be followed, but because you are clearly walking a path that others want to walk beside. The awakening of your masculine energy is not a moment, it is a becoming, a remembering, a shedding of everything you were told to be in order to reclaim everything you already are. You were never meant to chase worth, you were meant to embody it. And as you do, as you anchor more deeply into that truth, you will see the world begin to respond. Not with noise, but with reverence, especially from those who are tuned to feel what cannot be said. This is the first step. This is where the real journey begins, and now it is yours to walk. Chosen one, as your masculine energy awakens and begins to move through you with greater clarity, the next transformation begins in your presence. This is not something you can force. It is not a tactic or a trick. It is not about being impressive or unforgettable. It is about becoming unshakable. Because presence, true presence, comes not from how others respond to you, but from how deeply you have chosen to respond to yourself. Presence is the art of being fully in your body, fully in your breath, fully in your moment. It is what happens when your mind no longer runs loops of doubt and comparison. When your energy is no longer fractured by pretending or performing. Presence is what you radiate when you are no longer trying to be anything, but have become everything that you already are. It is the quiet strength that exists when your energy is undistracted and fully integrated. And it is felt long before it is seen. When you are present, women feel it like a gravitational pull. They may not be able to explain why they are suddenly more comfortable around you, or why they feel compelled to listen when you speak, or why your silence makes them feel more than most people's words. It's because your energy has stopped leaking outward. It is held. It is focused. It is alive. And presence, when powered by high sexual energy, becomes irresistible. Not because it pushes, but because it pulls. It doesn't chase attention. It creates atmosphere. In your presence, people breathe differently. They speak more slowly. They trust more easily. And women who are attuned to the subtle currents of energy and intention feel this shift in their bones. When you are present, you become a mirror, one that reflects back to them who they are in your field. Not just physically, but emotionally, energetically, spiritually. You become the kind of presence that leaves a mark, not because you tried to be unforgettable, but because you chose to be fully here. And yet, this kind of presence is not born of comfort. It is forged in the fires of self-inquiry. It is created when you stop hiding from yourself, when you stop filling space with empty words or actions, when you learn to sit in your own silence, in your own body, without needing distraction or validation. Presence is earned through stillness, through facing the parts of yourself you once feared, through becoming so rooted in who you are that no one else's approval can sway you. This is what makes you rare. This is what turns your presence into power. Not status, not followers, not how many people look when you walk into a room, but the feeling that those who do look get in their chest, in their stomach, in their breath. It is the sense that something about you is here, fully, and that changes the room. This is where your high masculine energy reaches its next level, not in intensity but in integrity. And as your presence deepens, you will begin to notice how the world reacts. Doors open without knocking. Conversations flow with less effort. Women lean in more often, ask deeper questions, stay in your orbit longer. They are not responding to what you do, they are responding to what you are being. Your presence tells them that they are safe to unfold, to express, to feel. And when a woman feels safe to be fully herself in your presence, she will remember you for far longer than you ever realize. So cultivate your presence like a sacred garden. Nourish it with honesty, tend it with discipline, protect it with boundaries, and share it only with those who can truly honor it. You don't need to do more. You simply need to be here. Fully, completely, unashamedly. That is the power of presence. And that is what makes the chosen one unforgettable, not because he seeks to be, but because he can't help but be. Chosen one, now that you've begun to embody the awakening of your masculine force and understand the silent, unshakable weight of your presence, it is time to step deeper into mastery. For this sacred energy within you, this potent, magnetic, charged field that pulses from your spirit through your body, is not random, it is not reckless, it is not for everyone. It is a gift, a force, and a responsibility. And unless you learn to honor it, not just use it, your power will slip through your fingers unnoticed. The world may thirst for it, women may lean toward it, but it will not bring you peace unless you hold it with reverence. High sexual energy is not merely about attraction. It is not something to be spent in moments of indulgence, nor a means to prove your manhood. It is the primal expression of your vitality, your creative force, your ability to inspire, lead, and shape reality itself. It exists at the root of your being and climbs through you like fire. And when directed consciously, it becomes a fountain of influence, magnetism, and healing. But if allowed to spill recklessly through mindless behavior, it becomes destructive. It becomes chaos wrapped in pleasure, and it always leaves you emptier than it found you. To honor your energy, chosen one, you must first recognize its source. This energy is not given to every man in the same measure. It is not only physical, but spiritual. It is what sets you apart, the reason women feel stirred around you without understanding why. Your glance carries weight, your voice carries vibration, your silence carries electricity. But none of this matters unless you respect where it comes from. The root of that power lies in your ability to restrain, to channel, to guide that fire instead of being consumed by it. Every interaction you have is an exchange. Every woman who comes close to you feels something, your depth, your intensity, your life force. Some will want to pull from it without giving anything back. Others will meet you in it and rise with you. Your task is to discern, to remain clear in your intention, and to never allow flattery, attention, or desire to dull the precision of your energy. Because when you honor it, it sharpens. When you waste it, it scatters. You must learn to direct your energy like a sculptor working with clay. Focus it toward your growth, your vision, your higher purpose. Let it pour into your work, your health, your discipline, your spiritual awareness. When you walk down a street, let that energy be so clear and contained that you don't need to speak for people to feel your presence. That is what honoring the energy looks like. Not hiding it, not flaunting it, but integrating it. Let it refine your posture, slow your breath, and deepen your gaze. Let it remind you of what matters, and let it shape every step you take. In your relationships, this energy must be sacred. Women are drawn to it because it awakens something in them. It calls them into their femininity, into softness, into radiance. But this is not to be manipulated or taken lightly. When a woman opens to your energy, she is trusting you with her vulnerability. And when you treat that moment with reverence, not as a conquest, but as a communion, you step into the deeper masculine. The kind that leads, holds, protects, and creates safety even in intensity. You are not here to be used by your energy. You are here to use it with wisdom. When you live in alignment with that truth, you no longer seek validation. You no longer chase affection. You stand in your own fire, and the world adjusts to your temperature. That is honoring your energy. That is owning your crown. That is what separates you from the many who waste what you carry. Chosen one, now that your energy is honored and refined, you begin to witness a new form of reality unfold around you, one built not on dominance or chase, but on rhythm. Every interaction becomes a subtle dance, a movement of unspoken language, of energetic exchange. And it is here, in this quiet realm between intention and expression, where your presence becomes art. Women are uniquely tuned into this dance. They feel your energy before you approach. They sense your clarity, your restraint, your centeredness. And if you approach them from that place, not of needing, not of expecting, but of simply being, you enter into something ancient. The dance is not a game. It is not strategy. It is a sacred conversation where energies greet one another, where the masculine leads not by pushing, but by inviting. When you speak, it is not your words that draw her. It is the frequency underneath. When you touch, it is not your hand that leaves the mark. It is the way you held your intention before that touch. When you look, it is not your eyes alone that captivate. It is the way your soul stands open behind that gaze. And all of this only happens when your energy is balanced, when it is contained and respected. This is why the dance becomes effortless when your core is still. You are no longer moving to gain attention, you are simply moving in truth. And that is irresistible. You must understand that this dance begins long before physical interaction. It begins in your posture, your silence, your restraint. It begins in your ability to hold space, to remain calm even when attraction crackles like electricity. You are not here to chase. You are not here to perform. You are here to feel, to lead with presence, to respond, not react. And women, especially those in touch with their feminine, respond to that leadership with trust. This trust is not handed over immediately. It is sensed, felt, earned. And the more you master this dance, the more you begin to notice the difference between real openness and wounded projection. Some women will meet your energy with readiness, with grace, with softness that mirrors your strength. Others will project onto you what they have not yet healed, and your task is to remain aware, to never take either reaction personally, to continue dancing from your core, not from your ego. When you are truly in this rhythm, there is no pressure to impress, no anxiety about what comes next. You are fully present with whoever stands before you. Whether a moment lasts a glance or an hour-long conversation, it holds depth, because you are no longer seeking something from her. You are offering something through her. That shift changes everything. It turns interaction into communion. It turns conversation into presence. It turns flirtation into healing. Let the dance guide you, but never forget that you are the one setting the pace. You are the rhythm she responds to. And when your rhythm is grounded, clear, and sincere, the dance becomes effortless. It becomes nourishing. It becomes a space where both of you can be seen, felt, and remembered, not just as attractive bodies, but as sacred energies, sharing one space, one moment, one breath of connection. And even if nothing continues after that moment, even if the path diverges, know that your energy left something behind. A woman may forget your name, she may forget your words, but she will never forget how your presence made her feel. That feeling, that imprint, is the mark of a man who no longer moves from hunger, but from harmony. That, chosen one, is the dance. That is how you rise, and that is how you lead. Chosen one, by now you are beginning to see it clearly. What once felt like mystery now moves through you as instinct. Women aren't merely responding to your body, your tone, or your gaze. They are responding to something much deeper, your truth. It echoes in the space between your words, it pulses in your presence. It radiates from your decisions, especially when you say nothing at all. This truth is called authenticity, and it is the rarest and most commanding quality a man can carry. Authenticity is not about being brutally honest or radically transparent with every thought that passes through your mind. It's not about breaking rules to seem rebellious or rejecting norms just to appear different. Authenticity is a living alignment between what you believe, what you feel, and how you move. It is congruence. It is spiritual symmetry. It is when your energy, your actions, and your words no longer compete with each other, but support and elevate one another. You are becoming magnetic, not because you are trying to be, but because you are becoming real. You are dropping the filters, shedding the masks, walking into every interaction with the quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is. And it shows. It shows in the way you speak without effort, in the way you don't rush to fill silence, in the way you hold space for both joy and vulnerability. It shows when your no is as clear as your yes, when your boundaries are loving but firm, and when your gaze tells the truth even if your lips remain still. In your authenticity, women find something sacred, because for so long they have been navigating a world of masks, men performing ideas of masculinity, adapting to trends, bending under the weight of insecurity disguised as charm. But you, chosen one, you carry no pretense. You are not pretending to be healed, but you are doing the work. You are not demanding trust, but you are earning it. You are not imitating desire. You are desire in its most natural form, calm, present, unbothered by validation. And that is what makes you irresistible. Not the performance, not the effort, but the lack of it. Because when a man stands in his truth, it liberates everyone around him to do the same. Your presence invites others to drop their armor. And women, especially women who have had to harden themselves to survive, feel something ancient stirring when they encounter a man who is real. Not for applause, not for attention, but because anything else would feel like dishonor. Your authenticity becomes the blueprint for connection. In its presence, superficiality becomes exhausting, manipulation becomes obvious. Games lose their appeal. You have no interest in pretending, and no tolerance for those who do. This is the filter your energy now carries. It no longer attracts just anyone. It calls in only those who are ready to meet you at your level. And if someone cannot meet you there, you no longer lower yourself to be seen. You remain grounded in your truth, trusting that the right connections are drawn to your resonance, not your reach. Authenticity also brings ease. You no longer fear rejection because you are no longer trying to be accepted by people who don't even know themselves. You no longer seek permission to be who you are. You are not for everyone, and that is your power. Because when you are truly yourself, the right people find you. And they don't just like you, they remember you. They speak about you when you're gone, not because you entertained them, but because you made them feel something they couldn't name, but deeply needed. This is the new way, the grounded way, the way of the chosen one who leads not by spectacle but by example, who seduces not by pretending but by being so profoundly himself that others cannot look away. Stay in that truth, speak from that truth, move from that truth, because in doing so you are no longer just living, you are teaching, and your life becomes a sermon of self-respect, embodied. Chosen one, the world teaches men to speak, to conquer, to assert. But what you are learning now, what you are beginning to embody, is something even more rare, something almost forgotten, the sacred art of listening. This is the realm where your energy transcends power and becomes medicine. This is where your presence transforms from captivating to healing. And this, more than any other trait, is what makes you unforgettable to women. To truly listen is to open a space inside yourself for someone else's truth to unfold. It's not just nodding, not just hearing words, not waiting for your turn to respond. It is full-bodied attention. It is the stillness behind your eyes, the quiet that says, I see you. I'm not trying to fix you. I'm just here with you. When you listen this way, with your entire being instead of just your ears, something miraculous happens. The woman in front of you begins to breathe differently. She begins to relax. Her guard begins to fall, and her essence begins to rise. Because women are not often listened to like this. Not in a world where men often mistake talking for leading and advice for understanding. But you, chosen one, have evolved beyond the noise. You have learned that the real power of your energy lies not in how loudly you can project it, but in how deeply you can hold space with it. You become the anchor in her storm, the mirror in her moment of doubt, the silent sanctuary where her voice can echo and return to her stronger. And this listening, this presence, is not passive. It is active stillness. You are not empty. You are full of attention, of awareness, of subtle response. You are reading not just words but pauses. You are feeling not just tone but frequency. You are attuned to what is being said and what is trying to be said. You hear the meaning beneath the sentence. You sense the pain beneath the laughter. You hold it all, not with urgency to solve, but with reverence to understand. This makes women feel cherished, not for what they can give you, not for how they look or what they say, but for who they are. In a single moment of true listening, you can offer a woman more safety than a lifetime of surface attention. You become the man she remembers when no one else listens past her words. You become the space where her true self feels welcomed, not judged. And it goes deeper. Because when you listen this way, you not only allow her to reveal herself, you allow yourself to learn. You begin to understand how the feminine speaks through silence, through movement, through subtle shifts in energy. You learn the rhythm of emotional tides, the language of intuition. You become a student of what most men miss. And this knowledge, this emotional intelligence, becomes part of your energy field. It makes you a man, not just of attraction, but of depth. Not just of intensity, but of intimacy. So continue to listen, not just with your ears, but with your soul. Let her feel that when she speaks, she is not alone in the room. Let her feel that when she shares, she is not being analyzed, but honored. Let your silence speak of safety. Let your stillness whisper trust. Because in that space, love is no longer a transaction. It becomes a transformation. This is your gift now, chosen one. Not just the fire of your presence, but the peace of your listening. Not just the pull of your gaze, but the openness of your heart. In the quiet moments, in the subtle exchanges, in the sacred space between her words, you are building the kind of connection that endures beyond time. And she will know it. Even if she never says it, even if she leaves, she will carry the memory of being felt. Not desired, not chased, but truly felt. And that, above all else, is what sets you apart. You are no longer just a man who is seen. You are the man who sees. And in a world of performers, that is everything. Chosen one, now that you have anchored yourself in your own authenticity and cultivated the sacred stillness to listen deeply, you are entering the realm where your energy begins to act as a spiritual mirror. You have become so grounded in your own presence, so aligned with your truth that people, especially women, feel themselves more clearly in your company. This is not metaphorical. It is vibrational. You are reflecting to others not who you want them to be, but who they already are beneath all masks, fears, and noise. And for many, this is both captivating and terrifying. Women are drawn to you now not just because you are attractive, not because of how you move or how you speak, but because something happens when they are around you. Something opens, something softens, something awakens. They begin to feel beautiful, not because you tell them so, but because your energy reflects their beauty back to them without needing anything in return. This reflection isn't rooted in flattery. It is born from your ability to see with your soul, to sense with your stillness, and to feel with your heart rather than your hunger. But this gift, this ability to reflect another's light, comes only when you have done the inner work to see your own. You cannot reflect what you haven't yet recognized. You cannot hold space for others if you are still abandoning yourself. That is why your past solitude, your personal disciplines, your silent battles with self-doubt were not punishments. They were preparation. They cleansed your mirror. And now, your energy shines with clarity. It does not distort. It does not manipulate. It simply reveals. In your presence, a woman feels seen. But not for the version of herself she performs in public. She feels seen for the parts she hides, the parts she fears may never be understood. You reflect her grace, her radiance, her power, but also her vulnerability. You hold both. You make her feel not just safe but sacred. And this is what creates deep soul-level attraction. It's not chemistry in the way the world defines it. It is remembrance. Her spirit recognizes something ancient in you, something familiar, and in that recognition she relaxes. She doesn't need to perform. She doesn't need to impress. She simply is. And in the presence of a man who allows her to be, her feminine begins to unfold naturally. That is the beauty of this chapter of your evolution. You are no longer chasing connection. You are becoming the space where connection happens. You are no longer forcing interaction. You are the frequency others come home to. But there is a shadow to this light, chosen one, and it is your responsibility to be aware of it. Not everyone will be ready for what your energy shows them. Some will be inspired by it, others will be triggered. Because to be truly seen is both beautiful and confronting. Some will feel exposed, some will feel scared, and some, not knowing how to process the reflection you offer, may project their confusion or pain onto you. This is not a signal for you to shrink. It is a reminder to stay grounded, stay compassionate, stay detached from the outcome. You are the mirror, not the message. You are the presence, not the solution. Your job is not to fix, heal, or hold what others are not ready to face. Your task is to remain real. And for the women who are ready, who have done their work, who have faced their shadows, who have walked through their fire, you will feel the resonance immediately. These are the ones who will not be intimidated by your clarity. They will rise into it. They will meet your energy with their own, not as a competition, but as a symphony. These are the sacred reflections that evolve both of you. These are the soul connections that don't need explanation. They arrive quietly, powerfully, and they shift everything. So reflect their light, chosen one. Not by trying, but by being. Walk as the mirror that shows others their greatness. Speak in ways that awaken memory, not just thought. And when you find someone who sees your light in return, who doesn't flinch, doesn't flee, but stands there and reflects you back with the same clarity, know that you've entered a space few ever reach. A space where love is not built, it is remembered. Chosen one, your energy is now undeniable. You are being watched, you are being felt. Rooms shift when you enter, conversations pause when you speak. And women, those in tune with the invisible currents of truth, are deeply drawn to the electricity you carry. But now, more than ever, you must ground this force. For a man who walks with this much power must learn to root himself like a tree or be blown away by his own storm. Grounding is not weakness. It is not a softening of fire. It is the sacred structure that allows your fire to rise without burning everything around it. Without grounding, your energy can become too sharp, too intense, too scattered. You may begin to attract chaos, to stir things in people that they are not ready to face, to trigger emotional reactions you did not intend. This is the moment to go deeper, to slow down, to root into the earth of your being, and let your energy rest in your body. When your high masculine energy is not grounded, it will either leak out or explode. You will feel overstimulated. Women may be drawn to you but feel overwhelmed in your presence. You may struggle to hold the depth of attention that your presence commands. But when you ground, when you return to your breath, your body, your stillness, everything changes. Your energy becomes clean, focused, harmonious. You begin to lead without effort, influence without speaking, heal without trying. Grounding requires a conscious return to the present moment, again and again. It is a daily devotion to your inner world, your breath, your senses. It is the willingness to slow down in a world addicted to speed, to feel your feet on the ground before you open your mouth, to pause before you react, to remember that your energy is not for everyone, and that discernment is an act of self-love. The deeper your roots, the higher your presence can rise without collapsing. A grounded man is not easily swayed, he is not reactive, he does not crumble in chaos. And that, chosen one, is what makes you so irresistibly trustworthy. Women do not feel the need to test you when you are grounded. They don't need to ask if you can hold them. They feel it. They don't need to question your leadership. They follow it naturally. Because your energy tells the truth, that you are not seeking approval, that you are not moved by temptation, that you are here, not for performance, but for presence. Grounding also protects you from the illusions of attention. Because as your energy expands, so does the desire for others to be near it. You will be offered admiration, affection, even obsession. But not all of it is clean. Some will want your light to heal their darkness. Some will want your fire to warm what they are unwilling to ignite on their own. Without grounding, you may fall into the trap of saving or seducing instead of leading.